Apex Online Racing is sponsored by Elgato, who created this lovely stream deck. For more information about the stream deck, the link is in the description below.
Good evening everyone and welcome to the Project Cast to AOR LMP2 League on the PC Season number 1, Round 4 from Spa. My name is Thompson and I will be commentating for you tonight. Sorry for the bit of delay tonight as we have one driver who's currently struggling with technical issues, so I hope he'll be able to join the lobby fairly soon so we can load into the game. But first things first tonight, let's have a look at what happened so far this season. And here is the standings screen as it is at the moment. Halfway point of the season, 3 out of 6 races have been raced. And you can see that Tomahawks is currently the one who is in first position in the championship due to his very good consistency, 2 fourths and 1 second position. Bogey Franz, who has already won a race, had a terrible round last week to be fair, and has dropped down to second. Inky Chris, the winner from last week's race, up into third now, and Yoguk, our third winner, currently sitting in P5, so championship at the moment is still wide open. And of course the team championship, I don't know why this isn't centered, sorry for that. This is supposed to be in the center of the screen, never mind, sometimes that happens. But yeah, you can see that at the moment the team championship is also still very close, 9 points between the top 2. And it looks like we're loading into the lobby now, so we'll go to that shortly. So yeah, just a quick look back at the driver standings. So as you can see, top 5 drivers only separated by 25 points. A winner's worth 50. So there's still lots of points to gain in the last 3 races. And tonight we're going to be racing at Spa. We're going to have 15 minutes of qualifying, and then we'll have a 60-minute race after that. So let's load into the game, and there we are. And where is he? There he is. That is Tomahawk's current championship leader in his Ligier. Exiting the pits right behind JJ, I think that was. Let's get the speedo and the map up, as we always do at the start of a session. So Tomahawks hasn't challenged for a victory so far, so it's going to be interesting to see whether he can get one in the bag in the last remaining 3 rounds. But due to his very good consistency, he's currently in the championship lead, leading by 12 points at the moment, sitting on 110. And he'll be trying to get another top 5 or top 4 finish tonight. So we'll definitely have an eye out, and obviously on our 2 quote-unquote very quick aliens, that is Burger Franz and Yoguk. The 2 guys have been setting the pace just by raw lap time in the last couple of rounds, and we'll see if one of the 2 can put themselves on pole position tonight. So I hope all of you are doing fantastic tonight. Thank you for joining into the stream, and hello to everybody who's coming in now. So I can see people joining, so thanks for that. Welcome. And Tomahawks actually will be the first driver, as it seems, to actually start his flying lap. And I've just noticed you can't hear the cars, so here's some audio, there you go. And we'll start the flying lap very soon. So as we always do, let's go on board with Tomahawks and for a lap around the circuit here at Spa. So using the same start finish line as Formula 1 does here. So turn 1 will be coming into La Source, hairpin, first gear, tight turn, and then as early as you can onto the accelerator and down the hill towards Eau Rouge. And then you can see fifth gear, flat out, through Radion, over the crest, and then into sixth here at the top of the Camel Straight. This should be one of the best overtaking opportunities in the race as we come down to Lacombe, hard braking, second gear to the right, to the left, and then back to the right. And then this corner is notoriously difficult, Brussels. Downhill, kind of off camber, second gear hairpin, very, very easy to get understeer on entry and oversteer on exit. And then we've got a very fast left-hander, third gear up into fourth, and now Pouon, one of the most exciting corners here. You can see quite a lift here in the Judge. That's not the case for every car. I think the Orica technically can take this flat, but I don't think we have any Oricas racing tonight. So next right, left chicane, very fast this one is, as we now come into turns 15 and 16. This is Stavilo. Very important to get the exit right here, as this will lead all the way up to the bus stop. Hairpin will be full throttle flat out, and then into the bus stop is the second very good overtaking opportunity, as we'll now come to Blanchimont, flat out left-hander, sixth gear, 270 kilometers an hour, and then into the bus stop, hard braking, down into first, very tight right and left combination, and then you want to be on the throttle as early as possible to the line, and Tomahawks will set the first lap time with what seemed like a decent lap from the onboard. It's a 2-minute 2.662. Bogus fans next to set a lap time with a 2-minute 2.4, and then we've got Yogurt with a 2:01.9. So as expected, these two at the top of the timesheets right from the get-go, and we'll see how much they can put their times and improve towards the end of the session. We have 10 minutes remaining in qualifying. So Ultimate Kaiser currently in fourth. Also one of the drivers who's been fairly consistent throughout the different races. He has 2 third places and then a P10 last week around, which currently puts him fourth in the championship. Then we've got Dusty, that's Bogey's teammate. He's currently sitting in fifth. Crab in P6. Inky Chris in seventh, as he had a bit of slide going on there. S-Turbo's currently sitting in eighth. Then we've got Uni and the Gnome around off the top 10. We've got currently 16 lap times on the board, as the Gnome running very wide on the exit of Brussels there, which is interesting. Most of the time you do fight with oversteer on exit there, not understeer, but yeah, possibly he had that understeer from turning onwards, so this won't be a very good lap for him. Bogey Fran's already back into the pits and is going to drive out again. So interesting to see if there are different strategies on how many flying laps you want to do in a row, as Yogurt now also sliding out of the box for a second stint, and at the moment just switching over to Tomahawks, who spun there in the final chicane. I'm not quite sure if he was finishing a lap or trying to set one up, but that definitely ruined an attempt there for him, and Ultimate getting out of the way here. So just having a look if there's any new drivers currently that we need to talk about. We did have some reserves that moved up to a full spot. So I think the Gnome was one of them, for example. He was technically only a reserve before, if I remember correctly. And actually the number of reserves has now gone down to 3. So slowly but surely we're getting there. Currently no improvements at the top, but obviously we know Yorick and Bogey and Tomahawks all start new out laps, so that should take a minute before they get round. We've got Yogurt fans in the chat, good evening. So yeah, feel free to voice who you're rooting for. Obviously, we've got log here, which is called the McDonald's delivery team because they did start off with red and yellow cars, but after the switch, it's now red and white. So not quite the correct colours anymore for the team name. I don't think that really matters now, does it? Eisenschenk is in 6th position, so currently looking very good for the Moisty Boys, sitting in P4 and P6. Would be good starting positions for them. They're currently first in the championship, obviously. That is due to a good team effort. For example, Turtle Racing in 3rd is all down to Tomahawk's points. He's the only points scorer for that team at the moment. So having 2 solid drivers putting in good laps, that would help, but obviously Bogey Franz and Dusty are also doing a good job at the moment for Team Understeer. And we're closing in onto the 5-minute mark, so definitely not much time remaining. Just having a look here. Looks like both the top drivers currently on flying laps, as is Tomahawks. So we'll stay with Bergefranz at the moment because he went through the 2nd sector split. He's currently up by 2.5 tenths, and now basically only has one more chicane to go and a lot of flat out driving. So let's see how much he can improve. 2.5 tenths obviously at the moment wouldn't be enough to challenge for pole position, as Jogek is currently ahead by half a second. So let's see what time he can drive across the line. And it's a 2:20, so still 2.5 tenths down from pole position, but nevertheless an improvement from the Norwegian driver. Next up we have Jogek. So let's see if he can improve on his time. Surely that slide is not going to help. That probably would have cost him a tenth or so. And yeah, there we go. Slightly off his personal best. I think that's exactly where he did lose that time. Was in the last chicane there with that slide. Tomahawks improving by about a tenth, but that doesn't give him an extra position. Yes, Turbo has moved up into 4th now with a 2:02.9. Pretty much 1 second off pole position at the moment. Good evening, Ritz. Welcome to the stream. Good to see you. There's Turbo, currently improving on his personal best, but again 1/10, not enough to move up another spot. JJ with a penalty. Let's have a look. That's 2 grid spots that JJ will lose. But yeah, looked like ASO a bit deep there into the final chicane, and that will have ruined his lap. Inky Chris in P6, Uni in 7th. Dusty now down to 8th, but he's going to cross the line now to start a flying lap. Eisenschenk now in 9th, and Crab still holding that P10 spot. So let's give some of the mid-pack drivers currently a bit more airtime. It's TPW in his black, white and yellow. I think he ran a bit wide there. That might have invalidated his lap if he crossed the white line. It looks like he's moving off to the side now and letting everyone pass. So that seems to be exactly what happened. And meanwhile, Yorick has set a new personal best and a new pole position time with a 2:01.5. Tomahawk's also improved to a 2:02.0. So Tomahawk's now up into second, whereas Bogey France, he'll definitely need to improve if he wants to challenge for front row. Currently 6/10 off pole position, but he's currently warming his tyres and getting ready for another lap, so that will be his last chance to improve. Yorick and Tomahawks both into the pits now, so they won't set another time. We've got 1.5 minutes remaining on the clocks. You can see Bogey having the extra wide line, leaving a bit of space for the cars ahead to get a good run and a nice gap for his final flying lap. Ultimate Kaiser looks to be also doing the same, as some people are now setting up for their final laps, and others like Inky Chris come in AS Turbo, improving by half a second, up to a 2:02.4 and up into 4th position. So that was the last lap from AS Turbo. And we've got Ultimate now starting his final flying lap, as well Dusty just in front of him. And Uni's on the way through Blanchimont now, so let's see if Uni can move up a couple of positions. Rit says, oh, Rouge will be fun to watch on the opening lap. Yes, definitely, that's going to be interesting. I speak out of experience from the Iconics races we did with the Oricas round here. That was definitely an experience at the start of the race. So let's see what can Uni do. Doesn't improve, but could go for another lap. Fuel also enough in the tank, so we'll have to wait and see. We can see Bogey Franz is slowly but surely encountering some traffic here. That's not optimal. It's the gap he has in front, but maybe, just maybe, the gap is enough to get a nice slipstream, but not be held up through the final chicane. I think that might be Crab. No, it's not. I was thinking who was Crab's teammates. There we have it. It's also not Stephen Carey, so not quite sure what that black car is. But Tomahawks, Bogey Franz is in the pits now, so no improvements there. Bogey will start in no higher than 3rd. Ultimate is still on a flying lap. Unfortunately, he didn't quite catch that second sector split, so we won't know if he's on a good lap time until he crosses the line. Dusty has now also gone into the pits, P7 at the moment. Just have an eye out on any changes. Eisenchenk has pulled into the pits, no improvements so far. Ultimate coming around the final corner, can he improve on his time? And yeah, looks like an improvement, but not quite enough to get past AS Turbo. Very close there between the two drivers. So it looks like it will be P5 for Ultimate. Uni getting a nice bit of slipstream here down back straight, but yeah, might be held up coming into the final corner. Yeah, looks like that might just be the way it is. And Uni probably not going to be able to improve, I'd imagine. Yep, there he goes. Pulls into the pits. Not quite sure who that was. I think that was Deifile. Who's going to start in 24th. And Face Grinder is on his out lap, or in lap, sorry. TPW also. And I think, yeah, there we go. That's all laps completed. Qualifying session over. So let's have a look at the starting grid. Yogok will start in 1st position, pole position number 2, I think, for Yogok, or 3 if I'm not completely mistaken. I think it's 2. Tomahawks in 2nd place, and then Bogey Franz not starting on the front row. That's unusual for him, but 3rd place nevertheless, still good qualifying. AS Turbo with a good qualifying there in 4th now, after finishing in 6th position last week. and P5 the other two races. Then we have Ultimate Kaiser, Inky Chris, and the list has already gone, so let's go through the list now. So in P7 we have Dusty, and then we've got Eisenschenk, Crab, and Uni for the top 10. And then the further starters are The Gnome, Face Grinder, Kuranik, Exus, Fat Scout, Smolder, WMDR Martin, TPW, Average Boy, Rixie in P20, and then we have Mashup Matt 58, we've got JJ, we've got Stephen Carey, we've got Day of Fire, we've got Mlonja, and we've got Legendaire in P26, rounding off this grid tonight. So, if you're not familiar with the starting procedure, and I go through this at the start of every race, but in case we have new viewers to this league, currently the drivers have 2 minutes to get their setups and strategy in order before the start of the race, and then once the 2-minute clock's down, the race will be green flagged, but the drivers won't bolt off. They will set off for a formation lap. So they'll do 1 lap around the circuit, get their tyre and brake temperatures up, and then between Stavelot and Blanchimont there's a set formation point where they'll go into a 2x2 formation and then drive in that formation until the start-finish straight, where there's a defined acceleration zone, where Yogok will set the pace and decide when he wants to bolt, and that is when the race will be underway, and all of that will be within a 60-minute window. So when the leader crosses the line after the timer has run down to 0, that is when the race will end. So lobby is syncing up, so that means we'll get on the formation lap very shortly. There we go, race is underway. You can see Yogok pulling away there, followed by Tomahawks and Bogey Friends, and they'll all make their way round the circuit now. So the local race start time is 2 in the afternoon, and we'll run with 10 times time acceleration, which means we'll drive into the darkness and then finish in the night. And current weather is, I think, overcast. So you can see it's a very grey day here in the hills of Belgium. And a lot of tyre warming going on. So perhaps the track temperatures are a bit low at the moment, so cold tyres might be a big issue in the first couple of minutes of the race, and considering after turn 1 we have the pack plummeting down to Eau Rouge and up Radillon, that might be a very interesting experience indeed. So Tomahawks, he's in a very good position, considering he's the current championship leader. He's in the top 3, and he's ahead of his nearest rival Bogey Franz, who starts in 3rd. So very, very good starting conditions for the Swedish driver, as he will have a decent chance to keep the lead of the championship tonight with a good result, and perhaps even extend if he has a really, really good result. So we'll definitely have an eye out on that. It's only the 4th out of 6 races, but still try and have a little look at how the championship might play out towards the last couple of rounds. But for now, the drivers should now start to line up, and they're doing that now, as you can see. Going into 2x2 formation, we'll have the odd numbered starting positions on the right hand side of the track, and then the even numbers on the left, or vice versa when looking from the front. Let's see. You can see the last couple of drivers here closing up to the pack, and that is Legendaire's view from behind, and he should be technically next to Londra there, but yeah, I can see that's the pack ahead of him, and that's already quite a gap to the leader just from the get-go. So that's why starting positions are obviously so important, as that is a very close-up camera angle as everybody comes to the final corner now, onto the start-finish straight. And it'll be Yogg's decision when he'll go. He's waiting, and now he's gone. Oh no, and we can see that was Tomahawks. They're trying to jump the start, had to hit the brakes again, and then dropping down several positions. He's down to third now, so it looks like he only lost that one spot, but that hurts nevertheless. Yogurt bolting, and it looks like Bogey Fans and Tomahawks side by side through Radio. Oh, that's close. But coming through, looks like everybody's okay at the moment. That's X's, who's dropped quite a couple of positions, but he's still on track. That's the main thing. And now coming down into turn. Oh dear, there's been a bit of contact between, I think, Ultimate and Tomahawk. Someone's off to the inside there on the grass as well, as everybody trying to funnel through Lacombe here. And it looks like Ultimate has that P4 in hand there. AS Turbo, Inky Chris going side by side into Brussels. That's the fight for P5, as everybody's trying to find that single file groove and get into a rhythm, but at the moment the cars are all so close, it's hard to do. And looks like now through Pouon nobody's trying to go for a move there, and as I say that, we've got, I think, Dusty and Crab going very wide there in Pouon. Crab up into 8th now, and looks like most of the drivers got through that start of the race fairly cleanly, so good job to everybody involved. It's not always easy with high downforce cars through Eau Rouge and Radion on lap number 1. Just having a look, Rixie is down the order, but car seems to be okay-ish. Inky Chris here being put under pressure from AS Turbo. Oh no! And Inky Chris locks up the rear, spins round Dusty into Inky Chris there. And I think Inky Chris thinking about going into the pits. No, he's going to rejoin, but he's going to lose a whole bunch of positions. Look at everybody flying past him. That's going to be so depressing to see. And he's down into 25th position now. So that was a horrible end to the first flying lap for Inky Chris. That moves AS Turbo up into 4th. Meanwhile, Ultimate K has a good run there through Radion. He's right behind Tomahawks, who pulls to the inside, goes defensive. He definitely has to. And oh, he changes his mind at Ultimate, having a look up to the inside, but he's not quite close enough. Sticks behind in P4 for the moment. Face grind and Crab going side by side here through the Coombe. Crab really having a go here. Wants that 7th position. Can't quite grab it. Is now under attack himself from Uni. As Uni goes for the dive. Can he make it stick? Give me a better camera. Thank you very much. Yes, Uni up into 8th. Crab back down into 9th. So trying to move up a spot. He lost a spot. That can happen in the pack. Unfortunate. And is that... yeah, that was Martin having a little look at the Gnome into Pouon. And Gnome runs very, very, very wide. So he might actually still lose that position to Martin. He does have the inside line though, but is early on the brakes and loses that spot to Martin. The Gnome now down into 12th position. Wow, what a pack here. That is from 7th downwards. That is Face Grinder, Uni, Crab, Eisenschenk, Martin, the Gnome, Fat Scout, Average Boy and Kuranik. So a very, very intense battle here at the first couple of minutes of the race. And looks like Ultimate's charged there on Tomahawks. has slowed down a bit, but AS Turbo moving ever closer. So I'll try to have an eye out on that while we follow these midfield battles here. This is now Uni. Really good start there from him, I think. Moving up a couple of positions on the last lap, and now pressuring Face Grinder here for 7th position. Only 2.5 tenths. He's going to have him look up into, down into Eau Rouge. No, he's going to wait, probably lift it off a bit. Now we want to be hard on the accelerator, trying to get a good run. Oh, Face Grinder nearly losing it at the top of the hill there. That gives Uni the chance to go onto the inside line that goes side by side into Lacombe. Bit of a drag race. Who's going to be late on the brakes? Surely Uni has this say. Oh, and that was Face Grinder. I think he hit the grass there under braking, spins round into Lacombe, and he's now sat on the runoff there, and that was someone else actually missing their braking spot. I think that might have been Average Boy. It was very hard to see, but two drivers messing up their braking there into Lacombe, and that is Uni up into 7th. Crab with a penalty, and speaking about Crab, running very wide there through No Name, and just having a look, it's a 2-second time penalty at the moment. It's very easy around here to gather up penalties, and due to how the penalty system works, usually it's just the better idea to you know, bite the bullet and take the penalty and continue on. But Crab now up into 8th after that mistake from Face Grinder there, and Uni into 7th. Currently slowly but surely moving up positions. AS Turbo getting ever closer to Ultimate Kaiser, and the gap from Ultimate actually to Tomahawks in front is now already 2.5 seconds. So it looks like Ultimate just had a bit of a better start there to the race, but currently the pace at the moment seems to be in Tomahawk's favour, and on the that last lap Ultimate actually lost 1.4 seconds. So not quite sure if he has damage or anything. AS Turbo 8 tenths quicker there behind. So surely, perhaps not this time around, but when they come down to the bust-up chicane, that could be a good chance for AS Turbo if he can hold on to Ultimate through the middle sector. And here we have Uni putting pressure now on Dusty, as Uni again continuing his way up the order. He wasn't quite close enough, plus on the outside coming into Lacombe, so sits behind for now in 7th position. You can see even through the corners, Uni following very well and really putting the pressure on Dusty. Last lap, Uni gained 7 tenths. And again, Dusty running a bit wide there. And Uni thinking about it, but not really a good overtaking spot there. And again, just choosing a slightly different line to get a bit more clean air on the wings through the corners to have a bit more grip. And now down to Blanchimont. That definitely could be an opportunity. Just having a look at the gap between AS Turbo and Ultimate. Doesn't look like there's going to be a chance into the bust-up. As Uni now is on the outside, coming into the bust-up. Oh, they nearly touched under braking. Both of them running deep, but just keeping it on the track. Fair play, very well defended from Dusty there, and holding on to that 6th position. But at the moment, I think that might be Exus who's getting lapped there. Yeah, at the moment, Dusty holding on, but Dusty already does have a penalty, so that might play a factor, depending on what the gap behind him is at the end of the race. And now Uni again with another run. This should be another opportunity for Uni to get ever closer. He's going to be on the outside again. Dusty defending very well so far. Uni as late as he dares on the brakes, but again Dusty has that inside line, and means that corner is his to take, and nothing Uni can do. He needs to be further ahead coming into the corner to have a chance to swoop around the outside possibly. But at the moment he's stuck behind Dusty, which is very good for Team Understeer, as they obviously have strong opponents with the McDonald's Delivery team and the Moisty boys. But again, Uni now having a look up the inside. That's not the most common overtaking opportunity, and it looks like Dusty wanted to take the corner. Nevertheless, there's contact. Half spin there from Dusty, but he stays ahead of Uni. But I wouldn't be surprised if those two cars now have some sort of damage, and might hamper their performance. But yeah, that was a very interesting incident there. Was hard to tell from the camera angle that I had there if Uni ran a bit wide or Dusty just decided to turn in. But Uni again having a look around the outside now. Oh, a bit of contact there at the back end. Uni almost spinning in the bus stop and just holding on to that. So this fight really is on, and both are really fighting very hard, even though we're only 15 minutes into this race. But at the moment, Dusty with the upper hand. So, let's have a look. Dusty has a 3-second penalty, Crab 4 seconds. So obviously at the moment, Dusty would be losing positions, but there's still a long way to go. And other drivers also might pick up penalties, obviously. Currently it just looks like Uni has more pace on hand compared to Dusty, and looking at the time that is still remaining, I think it's just a matter of time when Uni can get past, but have to wait and see. Let's just have a quick look perhaps at the fuel level, so we can see Uni 29 and Dusty 52. So they're on different fuel strategies, it seems, which obviously does explain the pace difference that Uni has at the moment. So he's trying to run a quick first stint, but that strategy will only work if he can actually manage to pass cars. So he definitely doesn't want to be stuck behind Dusty, that's for sure. And now he's very, very close coming out of Stavelo, so surely this time it should work for Uni. He's going to the outside of Blanchimont, but that means he'll have the inside into the bus stop as they go side by side. There's been a bit of contact, but both staying inside the white lines, and it looks like Uni had to possibly back out there a bit to avoid heavier contact, and that prevented him from having a go into the bus stop. So still having to stick behind. You can see Crab has just lost a spot to Eisenschenk. He's now down into 10th, so Eisenschenk slowly gaining some more positions, and Crab now down to 10th, to 10th place. And not to forget that Crab still has that 4-second penalty hanging above his head. And as I've just been talking about penalties, Uni now has one as well, but he also has a good run again down the Camel Straight. So this time Uni's going to be on the inside, and surely this time around Uni has to get the move done. Oh, there's again been a bit of contact as Dusty tried hanging it around the outside. It looks like all fair. But yeah, that actually looked like Uni did let him back through. So perhaps Uni felt like he should have given him a bit more space on the outside there, and let him back past there. So Uni have another go at another time. But yeah, just have a quick peek. So yeah, Uni now also with a 3-second time penalty. So this is a level battle at the moment. Oh no! And Uni's lost it in Pouillon. He spun half round, and I think there was contact with the inside barrier, and Uni's now going to lose positions. down into 8th as Martin goes through. And again, another bit of contact there for Uni. So I wouldn't be too surprised if he now has quite a bit of damage. And he's now dropping down to 8th position. And now has Eisenschenk behind him, who's been doing decent laps. So perhaps a bit of a threat there for Uni as well, unless he can gather it up and continue onwards. But yeah, Uni not making good use of his pace at the moment. And instead of being in P6, he's now in P8. So a lot going on in chat tonight. That's good to see. Sorry if I can't respond or tune in with everything. But yeah, I'll try to have an eye out on that occasionally. But at the moment, there's just too much going on the track. And looks like Uni is now trying to get back past Martin here. Let's see if this is a bit easier for him than trying to get past Dusty. You can see Martin flashing. I think that's Exus, who's now getting out of the way as lap car. And that might actually have given Martin the slipstream needed to stay ahead of Uni at the moment. We can see again a bit of a twitch there from Uni trying to put the power down. So it's not always very easy to follow other cars. And obviously tyre wear should now start kicking in. We've got Average Boy in the pits, and not quite sure if that was for damage or a planned stop, but he's got a full tank, so with 40 minutes remaining he should be able to go to the end of the session. And as usual, Martin has got his wipers on. I don't know why that is, but something I've noticed through the last couple of races. It's just maybe a good luck thing there for Martin. But yeah, Uni at the moment still behind Martin, but looks like he's got a decent run out of Stavelo. So it's now interesting to see. Is he going to go side by side through Blanchimont? Or is he going to wait for the bus stop chicane? He's having a bit of a look. But yeah, he's going to be on the outside. That's where Uni finds himself very often in these duels. But he's very late on the brakes and misses the chicane. So that's no overtake there from him. But that means he does get a bad run out of the bus stop. And he's got Eisenschenk right behind him. But I think he can just keep Eisenschenk at bay for now. But we'll give him huge slipstream now as they drive towards Lacoum. And Uni might actually still get a tiny bit of slipstream. I think the slipstream is about 1.5 seconds-ish. So you can see Uni closing into Martin and just keeping Eisenschenk at bay. But yeah, at the moment it feels like Uni should be moving forwards, but it's not going very well, as again a huge slide there from Uni. Inky Chris, next driver who's in the pits. And yeah, he had 18.8 litres remaining and is now full tank. So again, Inky Chris, one of the drivers, with a short first stint, which can also be a good idea just to try and get out of traffic. Uni in a similar situation. So we've got more and more penalties at the moment kicking in. I can't read out all of them. That I think that would take a bit much time. But yeah, as you can see, everyone with a red number in front of their name has received a time penalty. Rixie into pits, and Rixie actually still has a lot of fuel, so perhaps there's some bit of damage, and Rixie is switching the strategy. I think that could be it. I guess no, actually Rixie retired from the race. That's very unfortunate. But now Uni again having a go at Martin. Only one right behind going through Eau Rouge. That's so sketchy with the dirty air when you're behind. But Uni pulls it off. So now is Martin going to defend? Yes, he is. Pulls to the inside. Means Uni needs to go to the outside. But is behind into the braking zone. He'll try and hang around the outside, but can't make the move stick. Just wasn't close enough. So at the moment, really struggling with making overtakes. Could hint again to possibly having damage there. But at the moment, he can't find any passage past Martin, as he couldn't pass Dusty. But just as I say that, Martin not with a very good run. Uni on the outside though, and not really one of the best overtaking spots on the track. Coming into turn 13, so we'll try again into the chicane, but this time he's actually quite a bit further back than he used to be. Perhaps that could be an advantage, not being so close through Blanchimont, and then really gaining towards the chicane. I think that's again a lap car that might get into the way. Actually it's not, it's Dusty. Dusty must have made some sort of mistake, because Martin now side by side with the Dusty through the final chicane, and Uni will try and profit from that, but looks like he can't at the moment. So yeah, Dusty must have made a mistake, because he was a couple of seconds up the road, and now he's right in front of these two. Now they're all within 1 second of each other as they come down to Eau Rouge. Oh, Uni was thinking about going side by side through there, but thought better of it. That's not something you want to try with 34 minutes left in the session. Unless you really trust the driver you're fighting. But yeah, now Martin side by side and actually getting past Dusty. That's Martin up into P6, can just slow it down for Lacombe. And that means we're back with the Dusty and Uni battle. Question is, will Martin be able to pull a gap? Obviously was quicker by 2 seconds last time round, but again still suspecting that Dusty had some sort of mistake on his lap. Dusty a bit wide there for Pouon, but keeping it on the track. And Uni will be so frustrated seeing the two cars in front of him. He's been trying to pass for basically the last 15 minutes. But at the moment, can't make it happen. And looking at his fuel, he's got 10 litres left. So even if he does manage to get past, he'll basically have to stop very soon anyways. Oh, and again he was having a look around the outside of Dusty there. Dusty not really expecting that and wanted to pull to the outside, and Uni had to avoid there, but kept the car pointing in the right direction. Martin very early in the brakes. Dusty almost round the outside, but he's got Uni also right behind him, so he has to be careful if he wants to get past Martin. Not to open the door for Uni behind. Martin going defensive again into turn 1. Dusty having a look to hang it around the outside, get the better run. That didn't work out for now. He's again got Uni right behind his pack of 3. That's the battle for P6 at the moment. Question is, who gets the best run up the hill here? Obviously Martin, the only driver without slipstream, so this might hurt him. He pulls to the inside to defend. How close can Dusty and Uni get? Oh, they're thinking about making it 3 wide into Lacombe. That can't be a good idea. Dusty using the attack against Martin to defend against Uni. That worked out for him at the moment. Kept that 7th position. Uni really close. They come now into Brussels. And not quite close enough there for Uni. This battle definitely isn't over. The sun now setting slowly over the track. And at the moment now they're back to single file through the middle sector, unsurprisingly. So we haven't talked much about it just because of the amount of battles we've had so far, but Joguk currently leading the race after having a good start. Gap is currently 9 seconds to Bogey Franz in 2nd, and then Tomahawks is in 3rd. So I think that result should be enough to keep him in the lead of the championship for the moment, but he would lose a couple of points to Bogey Franz. And we've got Ultimate Kaiser P4, AS Turbo P5, and then we're back to this group here of P6, 7 and 8. And it looks like Dusty might need to defend against Uni. No, Uni not quite close enough. The gap to Martin has opened up a bit in the run down to the bus stop. At the moment, things are unchanged here in this fight for 6th position. And interestingly enough, Dusty is switching off his lights. Not quite sure if that was intended, but it will get very dark very soon. So we'll need to find that switch to flick them back on. And again, as they come up the hill, who gets the best run? It looks like Dusty might have had the best out of the 3. But he still not quite close enough. Martin only defending half-heartedly, but he's on the middle line, which is a weird line to take. And Dusty swooping around the outside of Lacombe. That means Uni now also gets a chance, and I think, yeah, Martin losing 2 spots there in one go to Dusty and Uni. So yeah, I was wondering why he was taking that very weird line into turn 1. Not really necessary to defend there, since he was far enough ahead, then just didn't have the grip offline there to be late on the brakes, and got overtaken round the outside from Dusty. Good overtaking maneuver there, and that is now Martin down into 8th, and that battle between Dusty and Uni for P6 is back on, as Uni will now really try and get past, but considering what he has left in the tank, I think Uni will need to pit this lap. So I'm not expecting an attack coming into the bus stop, to be fair, because we'll need to stop anyways. As Dusty has now found the light switch. So Uni will be the first out of this pack to make his stop. And remembering correctly from the LMP2 race I did a couple of weeks ago here at Spa, the undercut is actually quite strong around here. So maybe this tactic helps Uni out. We'll have to wait and see. He now comes into a stop into the pits for his scheduled stop. So let's have a look here at the battle for P8. That was just behind these two. You can see Martin there just ahead. That is Face Grinder and the Gnome fighting for P8. You can see how quickly it's now getting dark. But yeah. We'll have to wait and see how the track changes, if there's any shift in performance between the drivers. Whether they've... Oh no! That's the Gnome spun round on his own in Lacombe, and that allowed Face Grinder to move up into 8th position. And our Fat Scout is also right behind the Gnome, who has to try and get back up to speed. So Fat Scout actually is one of the drivers who will have to pit now as well, as Uni now comes out of the pits. Got 59 metres on the tank, and he rejoins just ahead of Crab here in P16, and he's got a nice 4-second gap ahead of him. So we'll try and make best use of the free track he has ahead of him. Interestingly enough, Face Grinder catching up to the back of Martin. Last lap time from Martin was only a 209.6, so there must have been some sort of mistake there from Martin. Cost him about 3 seconds there or thereabout. And Stephen Carey, the next one to stop for his scheduled stop on lap 15. They've got Fat Scout coming into the pits, Kieran as well, in 10th and 11th at the moment. And again, last time round, Martin 1.2 seconds slower than Face Grinder behind. It's not quite sure if Martin has gathered up some sort of damage that's slowing him down. Oh, and nearly gets run over by Face Grinder into Lacoon. Just got it slowed down before there was any contact, but that did cost him time. So gap now back to 1.8 seconds between the two. Eisenschenk behind Deophile here. I think Deophile is yet to stop, whereas Eisenschenk already has made his one and only necessary stop of the night. You can see a bit of a lift there going through Eau Rouge and Radion due to the dirty air. So I think Eisenschenk actually might not be close enough. And that is an interesting development. Tomahawks is closing up to Burgerfranz, and we'll have to remember these two actually currently first and second in the championship, so it would be of high interest for Tomahawks to actually get past Burgerfranz to extend his gap in the championship instead of the gap becoming smaller. Just having a look, the difference between second and third is actually 6 points. So basically this is a 12-point swing for Tomahawks. So depending what order they finish, it could be a 6-point gap after this race, or 18 points. Out of the top four, looks like times are currently very consistent. Everybody in the 204s, and then AS Turbo behind with the 206, Dusty with the 205. But Dusty's already 50 seconds down the road from Yogurt. Just having a look at the lap times now. This time around, Burgerfranz 2/10 of a second quicker than Tomahawks behind. So a very similar pace at the moment. AS Turbo now into the pits. With 15 litres left in the tank. So he's currently in P5. And he might actually drop outside the top 10 after his stop. Gap between Bogeyfriends and Tomahawks unchanged at the moment. Still about 1 second. And looks like Martin has wanted to say found his pace again, but again, last lap was a 2 minutes 7.9. So very inconsistent lap times from Martin at the moment, but Face Grinder currently can't profit, can't get past. And you can see the gap to Dusty ahead, who Martin was fighting before, has now increased to 7 seconds. So I think Martin is out of that fight for P6. It's going to be interesting to see where Dusty will join after stop. He's got 12 litres left, so possibly this or next lap he'll come in for a stop. Where it's going to be interesting where Dusty rejoins compared to Uni. Uni currently in the 13th position. The gap between the two is about 58 seconds, I think. And they are virtually fighting for sixth position. And currently in 4th is Yoguk. He's in for a stop, and I think he's already back out of the pit store, so he's on his way back out, and I think he might rejoin in 5th, possibly. Dusty's just coming round the... oh no, Dusty's actually pitting, so that's P4 then for Yoguk, and now is the going to be the interesting part, seeing where Dusty rejoins. So let's open the map for that. Actually, you can see Dusty here in the pit lane, and Uni is currently in the middle sector, lapping slower cars. So that actually might have held Uni up. We'll have to wait and see where he rejoins compared to Dusty. Face Grinder is also into the pits now. That moves AS Turbo back up into 7th. So Dusty, I think, is now leaving his pit position, surely. Still being held. Uni is now through Blanchimont. Dusty is still stationary, now he's back on his way. So this might be very, very close. We can see Uni is already through the chicane. He's coming down the start-finish straight now. And Dusty's coming round the pit lane exit now. Where's Uni? There he is, and I think he's ahead. Yep, there he is. Dusty just out behind Uni. So Uni did jump Dusty there in the pit stops. That's what I was talking about earlier. Undercut might be a feasible strategy. And that now moves Uni up in front of Dusty, and that should be virtually I think P6 after all the stops. Bogeyfriends and Ultimate Kids are now also into the pits. That means Tomahawks has now the lead of the race, and possibly he's got a chance now to gain some time towards Bogeyfriends. He's got only a few litres of fuel in the tank, so a very light car, and he'll obviously need to fuel a bit less due to the later stop. So perhaps that way could be a chance to get past Bogeyfriends. We'll have to wait and see. On I think the next lap, this or the next lap perhaps. As Martin now up into P5. Yet to stop. And obviously good evening to everybody who has tuned in the last couple of minutes. Good that you're all here. Welcome to the stream. So race rundown at the moment. Jogger currently in 2nd, but after pit stops he should be back in 1st. And interestingly enough, the gap to Bogeyfriends looks like it has doubled after the pit rotation, which is very interesting. I don't know how that happened. But we'll have to wait and see. How's Tomahawks coming through the final chicane. He's going to do another lap. Nope, not going to risk it with 3.5 litres left. Could be enough, but it would be very close. So he's coming into the pits for his stop. And he's fighting Bogey Franz for second position. Bogey Franz currently in Stavolo. So I think he should be able to stay ahead. But we'll see. You never know with the pit stops. So Tomahawks is now back out. Where's Bogey Franz? There he is. He's in the final chicane now, going through the bus stop. Tomahawks actually exited now. So yeah, Bogey Franz actually did lose a huge amount of time. Just having a look, he's got quite a bit more in the tank compared to Tomahawk. Well, has about the same as Yogurt. So now I'm wondering, is Tomahawks possibly underfueled? That could be that could be an issue, but I think it should be fine. So perhaps Tomahawks just going hard, more with a more risky strategy here, fuel-wise, putting in just the amount he'll need, as Martin and the Gnome now also into the pits, as they haven't stopped yet. And actually Eisenschenk has already made a stop and is ahead of Uni, so I think he jumped Uni and Dusty all together. So we'll see when the stops now pan out. And Martin actually back way ahead of Uni and Dusty, so that's interesting how that strategy played out. He had lost so much time to Dusty, and now he's 10 seconds ahead. But again, Dusty has a lot of fuel in the tank compared to Uni and Martin, so it's interesting to see how people's strategy and calculations are quite different. But then again, not quite everybody is running the same car. TPW, now one of the last drivers, I think, to make his scheduled stop. He's only got 1.7 litres on the tank, so that was very, very due, as I think he's now currently getting lapped there by Yogurt. Yes, there he is, just coming into turn 1. So that means Uni now actually in 9th. It's a bit further down than I had expected him. But he's right behind the Gnome, putting pressure on. Oh, he's going to the inside here, into Pouon. Is he going to make that move stick? He's not risking it too much. Gets into the dirty air. Almost has a huge snap of oversteer. The Gnome on the racing line. Uni switching back to the inside, but not quite close enough. Into turn 13. Has to stick behind the Gnome at the moment, but he also needs to have a look into his rearview mirrors, as Dusty's right there as they come through Stavolo. You can see that cost Uni quite a bit of time. Surely now he's going to have the slipstream and the run on the Gnome. To the inside as they come through to Blanchimont. Going to go side by side through the fast kink. You can see the Gnome going a bit wide there, but still side by side coming into the bus stop. Oh, it's 3 right! Dusty having a go at the Gnome as well, who left the inside line open. And it looks like he's going to lose that spot as well. Yes, Dusty is through, and the Gnome loses 2 spots in 1 chicane. He did defend very well against Uni, but then Dusty just absolutely charged up the inside, 3 wide into the bus stop. I have no idea how they made that stick without a crash. But here we are, that's Uni up into 8th, and Dusty up into P9. And talking about it, Dusty actually looks like he has a fairly decent run out of La Source as they come through Eau Rouge and Radion now up the hill to the Camel Straight. And Uni defending the inside here. Dusty will have to go to the outside. He does have a bit of overspeed, 285 kilometers now on the clock, and I think he's going to pull ahead. Yes, he has. That is Dusty ahead of Uni. What a great section of corners there from Dusty, moving up 2 spots, going 3 wide and then moving up to P8, that is, into Lacombe. Great racing there from Dusty. Absolutely fantastic. And that is him up into 8th. Again, Uni finds himself behind Dusty, where he's been stuck for most of the race. But that's not going to be to Uni's liking after finally jumping Dusty in the pits and then just having no chance coming into Lacombe. So just having a look, so Tomahawk actually not only did he gain time towards Bogey Franz, but also towards Yogurt in first. So the gap currently is 6 seconds. But as we've said, Tomahawks with less fuel than his opponents. So let's hope for him that we'll make it to the end of the race. We've got 11 minutes remaining in the session. So still a few laps to go. So let's hope that 26 litres are enough. Otherwise that would be quite a bit of drama towards the end of the race. As Eisenschenk again behind WMDR Martin. Last time around gaining 0.4 of a second. But Martin has regained a bit of pace after making his stop. File into the pits. He's currently down in 22nd. And looking at lap times currently, it looks like the track is now getting faster as it cools off. People are setting personal best sectors. Gap between Eisenschenk and Martin is about 7/10, which is a good distance if he wants to try and set up a move, possibly into the bus stop. And again, Martin losing time. Sorry, losing time through the chicane here. Not quite sure how he lost so much time just in one section of corners. Well, that leaves him vulnerable as they come out of Stavelo now. This is what it looks like on board for Eisenschenk. Undecided whether he wants to go to the outside or the inside. As they come through Blanchimont, you can see the dirty air really hurting Eisenschenk there, costing him some time. Which means he doesn't have the opportunity into the chicane. And Dusty behind Eisenschenk, actually closing in on these two. Actually with a fair rate of knots, Uni as well. So I think this battle is now going to get even more spicy. So we can see different lines from Martin and Eisenschenk through La Source. And this time Eisenschenk has the run he needs. Oh, he runs very wide there on the top of the hill. And she touches the grass there to go to the inside, but I don't think he's close enough. He'll have to possibly defend versus Dusty now. He does have a look around the outside, but wasn't quite close enough yet. So I think this is the point where Eisenschenk needs to think about defending more versus attacking. And you can see immediately the gap to Martin has gone up. Through Pouon now, there you go. And last time around, Dusty was actually over 2 seconds quicker compared to Eisenschenk. Alas, Dusty wasn't fighting, but oh no, Eisenschenk running wide there. And almost losing it. Oh no, I think there's been contact with Uni. Uni into the back of Eisenschenk. And that means Eisenschenk now down into 9th. Uni is in P8, but surely will have some damage. And Dusty will like to have seen that in the rearview mirror, because that possibly means that the pressure from behind is going to be less if Uni actually has received damage in that incident. Gap between the two currently 1.1 seconds. So then again, Dusty now having the sights on the driver ahead. Next up, WMDR Martin. Gap between the two is 1.4 seconds. And it looks like AS Turbo possibly set the fastest lap last time around with a 2:03.9. I think that's the first in the 2-minute threes we've seen in the race. So AS Turbo currently with really good pace. Gap ahead 5.5 seconds, but there's only 6 minutes remaining in the session. We'll stick with this battle here, which is again the battle for P6. It's been going on for most of the race between Martin, Dusty and Uni. Now with close to 5 minutes remaining, we're now on lap 26. We've got Yogurt still in the lead, ahead of championship leader Tomahawks. We've got Berge France, one-time race winner in 3rd, Ultimate Chaos in 4th, AS Turbo P5, Martin P6. Then we've got Dusty and Uni right behind him, and Eisenschenk in 9th, and the Gnome in 10th. That's currently the rundown of the top 10. And looks like at the moment Dusty slowly dropping away from Martin ahead, and Uni behind closing up. Ooh, looks like Dusty ran a bit wide there into the bus stop. Just kept it in between the white lines. What's going on with Martin? Why is he suddenly so slow? Is he possibly underfueled? It's very suspicious that he was going so slow into the source, and he's got a lot less fuel than the cars behind, so we'll have to wait and see. But oh, that was Uni very wide at the exit of Radillon, but we've now got Dusty and Martin side by side coming down to Lacombe. Dusty is on the outside, but looks like he's ahead, and surely, yep, there he goes, sweeps to the inside. It's the second apex, not quite done yet, as we've got Uni going side by side with Martin, but not close enough. And now Dusty goes off throttle and lets both through. I'm so confused what's happening right now. Possibly a race penalty by the game to let someone through, I'm not quite sure, but then again Uni ran wide, and now Dusty's back through, so not quite sure if they're just trying to play with me or what. But at the moment order stayed the same, so we've got Martin in P6, Dusty in P7 and Uni in P8, and we've only got 3 minutes left in the session now, so possibly only 2 more laps for these guys. And again, Dusty going very slow. That means side by side with Uni. And it looks like Uni has the overspeed and is now ahead. That gave quite the gap there to Martin, who's now more than 2 seconds up the road. Question is, can Martin hold on to this to the end of the race, or will the order change? Just having a look, Yogok is currently going through Stavilo, so I think There should be one more lap after this. Oh, that's Dusty having a look up the inside into the source. They're going to go side by side down the hill. But it looks like Uni got a bit better run and can just close the door before they come down to Eau Rouge. And through Radion now. So that is Uni in 7th, Dusty in 8th. But Dusty's then again getting a good run with the slipstream down the Kemmel Straight. And Uni finds himself on the outside, defending. That's not where we want to be. He has to give up the position, is back down into 8th. And Dusty runs wide there onto the sausage curb, cuts the second part of Lacombe, and drops back down. That means now Uni again up into 7th. These guys are swapping positions like crazy. Meanwhile, that means Martin can pull away from this group. Gap now 2.5 seconds. You can see him slowly but surely pulling that gap out as he goes through Pouhon. And Jorg should be on the last lap now, lap 28. Gap to second place, currently 5.5 seconds. Just having a quick look at the penalties, 2 and 3 seconds. Oh, Uni actually has 8 and Dusty has 8, so it's a fair fight between the two at the moment. Level ground. So whoever finishes across the line ahead of the other should also finish ahead in the standings. In the race results is what I'm meant to say. So these two currently still battling out for 7th position. But soon we'll have to switch away to see Jorg's race victory. It looks like Martin and Tomahawks will both be fine on fuel, so they just had very tight calculations concerning their fuel. And what happened to Dusty there? He's now 2 seconds behind Uni, so something must have happened there, some sort of mistake there from Dusty. And I think that might be the fight for 7th over for Dusty. But let's switch to Jorg. He's already flashing his lights as he comes through the final chicane. Rounds the final corner, and after 60 minutes of racing here, Jorg is the winner at Spa. That's his 2nd win of the season. The first driver to win 2 races. Congrats to Jorg. Tomahawks finishes in 2nd place, which means he extends the gap at the front of the championship towards Berger-France. So the gap will now be 18 seconds after Berger-France finishing in 3rd. And then we'll have Ultimate finishing in 4th just behind. So congratulations to him as well. AS Turbo rounding the final corner, he finishes in 5th position. And then the next driver actually is WMDR Martin, who we've been following for a big portion of the race due to his battle with these guys here, with Uni and Dusty. And we can see Uni is actually getting ever close to Martin. Uni does have the penalty, so he won't finish ahead, but still would be nice to finish on track ahead of Martin if you can for Uni. But I think he's not going to be close enough as they come to the bus stop. Gap currently 5/10. So that means Martin is going to finish in P6. Uni is going to finish in 7th. And Dusty is going to finish in P8. Eisenschenk in 9th. And then we've got the Gnome finishing in 10th. So, congratulations to everyone finishing in decent positions here. What an absolute interesting race tonight. Jorg with a very, very, very clear victory, that has to be said. But yeah, that battle for P6 through most of the race, absolutely fantastic. So that is the race results on screen. Already went through the top 10 finishes, so you can see... well, actually, Eisenschenk did move up due to Uni's and Dusty's penalties. So, Martin finished in P6, but then we have Eisenschenk, and then we have Uni and Dusty due to penalties, and then the Gnome in P10. So let's scroll down. Then we have Kiranik, Crab, Fat Scout, Face Grinder, JJ, Average Boy, Smolder, TPW, Stephen Carey, and then Mlonja with the final points paying position. And then we've got Mashup, Matt58, who did finish the race, but unfortunately didn't get any points. And then Deophile and X's have retired from the session. Alright, with these race results, I'll slowly have a look into the Discord channel to find potential interviewees. And then we'll get some interviews going in just a moment. Obviously, as recurring viewers will know, it always takes a bit of time until the drivers have basically spoken about the race a bit, and then they'll join into the commentary or into the interview area. So we'll give them just a bit of time. And talking about it, that's already time up. So first of all, and let me make sure that the audio is actually activated. There we go. So first of all, we have tonight's race winner, Yogik. Good evening.
Good evening.
Obviously, congrats to your second win of the season, the first driver to do so. Fantastic race there from you. It looked fairly easy through most of the parts. How close were you actually to the limits, and how much did you just bring it to the end?
Well, I was pushing pretty hard, to be honest. At the first couple laps, everybody else was just fighting for that second position while I got away, and so it was a lot easier than I expected. But yeah, as soon as I got out of that slipstream range and I just kept pushing and making the gap even bigger, then yeah, it was just driving it till the end. But at like last 10-15 minutes of the race, when it became dark, it was pretty hard to drive because the car was sliding everywhere, and it basically wanted to spin in every second corner I went through. It might be because I ran a pretty low downforce setup, but yeah, it was worth it in the end, as you can see results show.
So yeah, that sliding, was that down to temperatures or tire wear?
No idea. I mean, there was temperature.
That's always a good answer from a driver. No idea, but the car was sliding.
Yeah, you know, like the tires had temperature in them. It wasn't that bad, but tire wear was also not the biggest issue. But it's probably just a combination of both, and so that kind of made it a little bit, you know, sliding in the end.
Absolutely. So I'm just having a look, and unless I'm forgetting something, I think that should move you actually up into second position in the championship. I think, if I'm not completely mistaken, second or third. So considering you've now got 2 wins under your belt, 2 races remaining, and definitely inside the top 3 in the championship, is the championship your goal for the season?
Well, it wasn't my goal at first, but I mean, if I can go for it, do it.
And next week we've got our endurance race coming up at Le Mans. How's your feeling? Do you think that's going to be a track and race that's going to suit you with the different format, or do you think that might be a bit more of a challenge?
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this for weeks now. I already have done some practice on Le Mans, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think I'm pretty fast, and I love like really long endurance races. I mean, I've done longer than 2.4 hours, so it's not going to be that big of a challenge. And even if something happens, there's quite a lot of time to, you know, get it all back. So hopefully I'll be able to win that one. That's the one I want to win the most.
All right, so thank you very much for the interview tonight, and wishing you all the best for the last 2 races. See you next week.
Oh, see you next week.
So next up, we have someone who finished in P6 after a lot of fighting, and always looking very likely for him. It's WMDR Martin. Good evening.
Good evening.
So wow, what a race! Not gonna lie, a lot of screen time was focused around the battles around you. Tell us a bit about it from your perspective. That must have been a hectic race.
It was, and I didn't really expect much because like half an hour before the race, I actually fell down the stairs and hurt myself a bit. So yeah, I spent the majority of qualifying testing the hard tires to see how they would be, because the temperature is a little bit on the border between the hards and the softs. And I ended up qualifying in 17th because the hards were pretty bad. But I think about half the grid probably started on the hards, which made it a little bit easier for the people running on the softs. And yeah, I remember being pretty cautious around the first 2 corners, and then making up maybe 4 or 5 positions in the rest of the lap. And then it was just chasing down people who were battling each other. I think Uni and Dusty especially were really going at it, and yeah, with them constantly overtaking each other, I was able to catch up, but then they re-overtook me after Dusty kind of shoved me off the track a little bit. But then with the pit stops, I managed to gain a load of time, and then they slowly caught up to me again. But you might have noticed several drivers like randomly slowing down, which was due to penalty warnings, because you do not want to get a penalty around here if there's someone right behind you. So
Fair enough, yeah. I've already talked about that. It's sometimes a bit of you're in a debate whether you want to, bite the bullet, take the penalty, or slow down and not get it. It really depends sometimes with this game. But yeah, incredible fight. And I mean, since we have the chance, let's have Uni inside the interview area as well. Good evening, Uni.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm fine, I hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. I've just been talking with Martin about the incredible battle for P6. That was basically 3/4 of the race. That must have been pretty hectic. Perhaps talk about it from your perspective, being in the sandwich part of the battle for a lot of the race.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. They put up a really good fight. It was lots of fun. It was a really close race, and I enjoyed that. It was just nice to be fast enough to be competing in the top 10. But yeah, it was a really good race. And I'm gonna be honest. Sorry, Martin. I think I had more pace. I just couldn't find a way around them.
No, you definitely had more pace, mate. Don't worry. I also had some difficulties because I'm on my main computer this time, which is a bit beefier, and due to the slightly better graphics, the track was a lot darker for me, so I could almost not see where I was going for half the race.
So yeah, with two races remaining, next up Le Mans. You guys looking forward to that one?
Not particularly. I mean, it's a low downforce track, but that entire third sector is built for high downforce, so it's a really sadistic track.
Yeah, honestly, I'm kind of intimidated by Le Mans too. Just because, like, obviously I'm kind of new to the whole sim racing and league racing thing, and it's going to be my longest race to date, so hopefully I can keep the endurance to keep up throughout the whole race. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge, I think.
Oh yeah, it's over 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 2.4 hours.
Oh boy.
As someone who has raced LMP2 cars on Project Cars 1 in an endurance league with 2.4-hour races, it's manageable, but you're definitely going to feel it afterwards. So yeah, you really want to get your seating position right is my number one top tip. Because with these, usually 60 or 80-minute races, you don't really feel whether you have a bad seating position, but after 2.4 hours you will know, because after the first couple of races I really had problems with my knees. So that's just my tip. figure out the most comfortable seating position that you can stay in for a long period of time without any issues.
Yeah, good thing I just need to use my hands on the pad.
That definitely helps, yes. Alright, thanks you two for coming into the commentary box, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, see ya.
Thank you. No problem. See you.
And then next up, we have a regular visitor to the interview area. It's TPW. Good evening.
Hello.
Well, what a very eventful race. Tell us a bit from your perspective, from what was essentially more the mid pack of the race.
Yeah, I must say, like, the driving standards have really improved. Like, just generally over time. This race pretty much showed that as well. We had a few like incidents, but like, not as far as I'm aware, we didn't have any major ones. So definitely props to everyone for that. But yeah. This was a bit of a struggle for me because I definitely made the wrong tire choice. I went for the hards, which was definitely... It was fine for the first half of the race, but then once it went dark and the temperatures went down, there was no heat in the tires. The car just wanted to go at every single turn. So yeah, basically, I made a few mistakes in the first half, which made me drop a bit down the grid. But I sort of found my place sort of around P16, P17. And then the temperature started to drop, and it was just horrible. I lost the car several times and kind of went back and forth. Then I was up to P17, then I was back to P21 or something, and then just kind of back and forth. And then, yeah. I was debating on changing for softs, but that would cost me 16 seconds more in the pits. Which I kind of I didn't really believe I was able to make that up, like on the softs on the track. So I opted not to do that, but I kind of regret that now because the last 15 minutes was just a struggle. It was just survival basically. So yeah, not an ideal race for me, but it definitely taught me some things about tire strategy for the LMP2s.
Well, let's have a look at the calendar then. Next up is Lamont, as someone who's a fairly veteran driver here on AOL. What are your expectations for the race, personally and overall for the league?
Well, next time it's gonna be a very, very long one. It's gonna be 2.4 hours with a 10 times time progression. So we're basically gonna be simulating 24 hours on the race. So that's basically like the whole simulating the 24 hours of Le Mans is what I'm looking forward to. Just the general experience in this game. It's really where this game shines, I think, with the whole time progression and weather progression as well. So that's definitely what I'm looking forward to. In terms of the racing, it's definitely gonna be a slipstream battle most of the way through, but that's just Le Mans, you know, with all the straights and whatnot. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a proper endurance race. Some people are probably gonna be tested because we've only done 80 minutes races, like that's the max we've done so far. But now we're gonna do a 2.4 hour race, which is significantly more than the 80 minutes we're normally used to. So definitely some people are gonna have the stamina and endurance tested. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna be happening for Le Mans. Just kind of, I imagine a lot of people are gonna be caught out by maybe how intense it is, like just the sheer longevity of it.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're probably not gonna be seeing as much racing, but
yeah,
more just.
Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say we're probably not gonna see as much racing, but more just people, you know, the driver versus the track, more or less, and then, you know, people capitalizing on other people's mistakes and whatnot.
Yeah, I already talked to Martin and Uni a bit about my experiences with these kind of races, especially since Uni's still very new to the league racing, he said, and yeah, with my experience from the the Endurance League, but driving an LMP2 car on Project Cars 1 back in the day, I feel old saying that, but I think it's 4 years ago, I think. Yeah, but with these 2.4-hour races, the tip that I gave to them was basically check that your seating position is comfortable, otherwise you will feel it.
Yes, and make sure you have a good seat to sit on, not
Yeah.
some uncomfortable wood chair. That's gonna be very hard for you.
Yeah, absolutely. At least that's how I figured that my pedals were in the wrong space after my knees were trying to kill me. All right, so yeah, thanks for coming into the interview, and then I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah, see ya.
All right, last and not least, we have Fat Scout in Summer Body. Good evening.
Oh,
The person with the longest name on the grid is now in the interview area. Good evening, and yeah, tell us a bit about your race.
oh, it was an amazing race. At the start, I managed to put in some clean laps, and then I think in my first stint, I went from 15th to 9th before I pitted. Then went into pits, got new softs, got new fuel, but Project Cars messed me up and it put too much fuel in, so that's a bit sad. But in the end, managed to finish P13, so that's a pretty big improvement from my last few races, where I'm happy when I finished P20.
Yeah, just having a look, currently best finishing position was P19, so obviously congrats to that improvement. Just having a look at the calendar next week, Le Mans, that's going to be a 2.4-hour race. How's your experience with endurance racing so far?
Well, that's actually funny. I think before Christmas I joined my first league on Project Cars, and the very first race was an LMP1 race of 2 hours on Le Mans. So, and it was in the rain. In
Oh
winter
dear.
time. So,
Talk about throwing yourself in the deep end then. So
yeah.
how did that go then?
It went pretty terrible because in those cars you have curves, and I didn't know that, so I didn't have it mapped on my steering wheel, and everybody was like pulling away on me all the time on the straights. And I was like, what am I doing that I'm so slow? These people are crazy fast. But then at the end, like someone like said, oh, you know, you're pretty slow, so you're probably not using curves. And I was like, yeah, that could explain it.
Oh dear. Well, let's hope next week is going to be a bit better for you. Seeing these cars obviously don't have a boost button.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess thanks for coming into the interview area, and see you next week.
definitely. See you next week.
All right then. So before we go, let's have a look at the rest of the season calendar. Obviously, as we have already talked about, next week we're going to do 2.4 hours at Le Mans with 10 times time acceleration. So we're going to simulate the 24-hour race, and we'll have a light cloud into clear sky conditions for the race. And then the week after that, we're going to finish off the season in Portugal with a 60-minute race in the rain. So, if you enjoyed the stream, please leave a like, and if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to do so and click the bell icon to be notified about plenty more streams here on AOR. I hope you all enjoyed, and hope we'll see you next week for the next round of the LMP2 season here, season 1 at AOR. So thank you all for watching. My name was Thompson, and I hope to see you next week. Bye bye.